What's up, everybody? It is Breaking the Cage in Astrology TV. I am LSF, or as Matt likes to call me, I'm Shaman. Wait just a second here. I'm trying to make sure it's showing up for me to post out. And then we'll get into this. Yeah, here we go. Let me post it out real fast to my page. La 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 la. Alrighty, guys, let me put this down, but just in case, I want to keep it a little close. And you guys know me, I always start off with burning some incense because let me just tell you, the energy, it just doesn't ever stop. I was like, can we ever get a break? No, you're not going to get a break. Not this year, you're not. No. I would like to say we can. It's not happening. There's so much happening as far as timelines shifting, being manipulated, upgrading, downgrading. And then, like I said, we just came off of a Pisces full moon. We're going towards the Virgo new moon, then the equinox. And then right after that, here comes eclipse season. Whammy, 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 whammy. Hold on. So all of the funk should have definitely already showed itself. I was saying right there after that Pisces full moon, because it was crossing over Nessus. That was a perfect time to do some ancestral healing or some past life healing or past life aggression work and so forth. We're coming back into Spirit's really getting on me right now. We're really getting into, your daily tasks, your daily thinking, your daily activities. But with the building of the equinox, which is bringing light and dark into balance, explosively blowing it up in your face. That's why I was putting with like the little video that I did before I did the show tonight. I was showing it with a volcano getting ready to erupt, because it's what it's like. It's the roof's about to fly off. I mean, the fire's about to come out. It's about to get there. And let me just run down some of this with you, okay? This is for September 11th through the 17th. But I am going to walk you through a little bit of the whole next month and a half, because it needs to be seen right now. And then I'm going to come back to just this week. So you have Mercury, which is going to be going direct this week. It will be coming out of retrograde, as well as you have that new moon taking place. So I got a hair in my mouth or something. You got that new moon that's going to be taking place in Virgo on the 14th. All right. At this time, you're dropping technically from 10 planets in retrograde to 8. All right. And a lot of your astrologers out there have been talking about it being 7 planets in retrograde. But really, like I said, really, it's been like 10. When you get into the asteroids, you get into the dwarf planets, everything that's out in the Kuiper belt, and the stuff that a lot of astrologers don't talk about. It's been 10 planets. By the end of this week, you'll be down to 8 planetary energies in retrograde. And it's going to stay that 8 planetary energies in retrograde still until October. What is it? Until October 19th. No, October 14th. Because that's when Pluto is going to come out of retrograde, dropping it back down to 7 planets in retrograde. Now, the reason you're not hearing about this from all these other astrologers, because like I said, they don't get into those dwarf planets or the asteroids and stuff. But this is where the deep-seated, let's really get to the nitty-gritty root of things are. It's in the Kuiper belt. It's in that stuff that's far out there. It's like the ice-capped, cold, forgotten about shit. All right? And that's what we're looking at. You're looking at, like I said, the new moon coming in this week in Virgo. That's there says a lot. I'm going to come back to that in just a second. Got Mercury, which is going direct. Venus has already gone direct. But here's the thing. Venus won't actually come out of its shadow period until October 19th, which gives that Venus sensitivity. Like I said a million times for you guys, Venus is not like just ooh love. It's not. It's talking to you about the energies of what's good for you, what helps you feel good about situations. It also is talking to you about how to communicate it and how to create it through, being able to charm the situation to work for you. It tells you like I say a lot of times, women with their crystals, men too, with their crystals, you love your crystals. They help you. Some people, it's not even that. Some people, it's just like, I love my little furry blanket. Those are those things that Venus is telling you comfort you and help you. When it's the opposite, Venus is telling you what hurt you, what belittled you, what destroyed you, what lied to you. Venus is both sides. This is why I would always say, whenever you're cooking, in an oven at 365 degrees, you don't put your hand in there and get the food out of the oven with just your hand, because that will burn you. That would be Venus telling you, no, 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 this is not good for you. This is why you have to use the oven mitt and not harm yourself. So we're looking at Venus being in shadow, giving it in that heart space of Leo, your creative energy, a darker perspective. It's looking at things from the energies. Hold on one second. It's looking at things from the energies of, hold on, thank you, of Venus being in the sensitivity of your emotions and in the shadow of the darker parts of what it's not easy to heal with. So it's going to be picking at you in your creative energy and your hobbies, your fun, what you're interested in. And are you getting time for it? Are you being manipulated? Is it being taken away? That is going to give you a little bit of a feel of Mercury retrograde, because it's sensitivity, not communication. And understand that difference, because Venus is trying to help you understand what your heart wants, what your heart needs, what your heart desires in order for you to become what you're wanting. Spirit tells me that as I'm beginning this, that this next week, and as we look into the next month and a half, starting, it's already started, really. You are reaping what you sowed. But here's the thing. What timeline were you sowing it on? This is why I kept saying to you guys, not last week, but the week before, because last week I was sick and I didn't do the show, and I do apologize to everybody. But if it's not on the timeline you desire, it's not on the timeline you wish to be part of, don't play into it. It's dead to you. You have to it's not about ignore it, so that, how I'm always saying we need to not be enabling a situation, or how I'm constantly saying Spirit is saying to be the bigger person is no longer going, let me rise above it while the bad stuff still happened. No, it's not about rising above it and allowing the bad things to happen, but it's about not being connected to it, not allowing it to be part of your life, not allowing it to be brought into your vibration, brought into your energy. If it's not part of the timeline you want, then don't allow it to be part of you. Don't allow it to be part of your creation. And this is what they mean by, you're going to start seeing that you're reaping exactly what you sowed. But what timeline did you sow it on? If you're finding that you're in timelines that you are unhealthy, that were unhealthy or of a lower vibration, then that doesn't mean you can't change it. It's acknowledge it. I don't know how much stuff in the last 2 weeks I have up and changed. I threw out half of my furniture. It's just everything's going. If I don't want it in my life anymore, it's just tossed. I'm cutting cords I was telling Matt the other day, I'm walking around cutting cords like I got a machete in my hand. I'm done. If it ain't the timeline I want, peace out. That's where we're at. And I'm giving you this because you're coming into the equinox, your balance of your light and your dark. Are you going to allow the dark to be more powerful than your light? And that's what a lot of people are seeing. And a lot of people are not even understanding that that's what's happening, especially those who are not awake. Then you're going to come into where we're starting to look at the eclipse energy. And that eclipse energy is starting, technically, even though you're not going to see the eclipse until next month, you have the full moon coming in Aries. Your north and south nodes are where the eclipses take place. You're getting part of this eclipse with Libra next month, and then of Taurus next month, which is the year before. So you're already preparing this energy now. Aries energy is what you're going to have at a full moon at the end of this month. Then we're going to fly through those eclipses. Let me tell you, you're going to have some high vibrational energies and some low vibrational. And this is what I mean by knowing your timeline and paying attention to what timeline you're dealing with. Because high vibrational energy right now is going to be relying on themselves, relying on creating the situation and making it better. If you're speaking your mind, but doing it in a healthy way, if you are breaking codependencies, if you are embracing your identity, if you're finding independence, these are all things that are going to be on a high vibrational energy. But you are going to be dealing with us as we come out of that Virgo new moon where we're beginnings and going into an Aries alpha, yet baby. Alpha is always fighting to remain the alpha. Aries energy is always about me first. It is always about me first energy. It is very bold. It is very aggressive. Nobody has ever seen an Aries who was afraid of anything. Aries will smack you in the face and then worry about why they smacked you in the face later. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Aries is bold and aggressive. And when we're taking our energies at the end of the month as we're building through this new set, this new direction, this new idea of understanding our timelines and understanding of our manifestation and understanding of our thinking process and what we're allowing into our day-to-day activities and our day-to-day conversations and our day-to-day thoughts. You're taking this into that Aries energy at the end of the month on a full moon. A low vibrating Aries is going to be very superficial, is going to be very impatient, is going to be very aggressive and entitled, self-righteous, is going to be very belittling. We're going to start looking at longing for connections and relationships, meaning putting up with anything from needing it, even though it's not good for you, holding on to it. It's going to be a lot of face off, not making a lot of sense. It is going to be very arrogant, manipulation, and enabling, indecisive energy, trying to be what everybody wants you to be instead of being of your vibration and being who you are. Not to mention, you're looking at, if it's a low vibrational Virgo, as we're going through this new moon, you're looking at very obsessive energy. You are looking at overcritical, nagging, petty as fuck energy. You are looking at overthinking and in their head, mommy dearest, no fucking wire hangers. So you're looking at, from a low perspective, people snapping. Whether it's because of fear or it's because they don't understand that they are in fear or because they're losing their power, because these narcissistic people who have been stuck in their own lives for too long, getting exactly what they wanted, that shit's crumbling. And this is why I was saying right from the beginning, the spirit is saying this is light and dark, your equinox coming into balance. Let's make sure you're seeing it. Then we're going to go into the eclipse season. And like I said, it's going to be with Aries starting, even though that's not the eclipse. Then your solar eclipse is going to take place in Libra. Relationship zones. Anything you care about, you have a relationship with. Reaping what you sow. What timeline are you sowing that sucker up on? We are speaking about relationships, codependency, needing to have somebody else make you feel good about yourself, needing somebody else to, this is all, you're not in your power. That's part of the Libra issue. Every sign has a positive and negative. But what we're looking at right now is we're coming into that explosive volcano. Paying attention to your actual timeline, paying attention to your moment-to-moment activity, paying attention to your people, places, and things, paying attention to the energy diet that you are eating. Yes, the food has something to do with it because we are talking about Virgo. We are talking about Virgo energy, but we're also talking about your energy diet. Not to mention, Spirit's got me all over this week for the blueprint itself, because that's got some shit going on itself. We're talking about really looking into, hold on, I dropped something. I'll come back here. You've got, like I said, that Venus is in shadow, in the heart space, in your creative energy. Shadow, making you feel like I can't get what I want, or where you're having problems being able to step into that energy of going, no, I can get what I want when I stand firm. It's not attacking. It's just not taking shit. And in the heart space, this is where you meet your tribe. This is where you meet the people who you should be with versus the people that maybe you are with. Even though the 7th house is your relationship zone, the people you meet first comes from that 5th house. Because this is what you do with your energy, with your time, with your day, with your life. As we take it into that 6th house where this new moon is taking place, it's what are you actually doing with those people and with your life and your thinking and your activities. Like I said, hygiene has a lot to do with this energy. It is your diet. If you completely always have your energy around low vibrational, dirty energy, Pigpen from Charlie Brown, who have no control over their energy, just letting that shit fly everywhere, eventually you're going to find what you've created is a Pigpen world. This is your people, places, things, your energies, how you're thinking, what you're doing with it. Now, as I get into, before I start getting into the week itself and how this energy is going to work or manipulate the situation, if you understand the energy, you understand what its conversation is, then you know how to deal with it. But before we do, I'm going to get into the human body, the blueprint, the human program in which we are running on. You have Chiron, which is on the nerve connections, the connecting of how that brain is talking to each other and all of its different parts, making sure that they're connecting well. The North Node is on the skull. All right. This is actually the protection of your head. This has a lot to say about what's going on. Are you paying attention? A lot of this energy, especially when we just came off that Pisces full moon, and I don't know how many people I watched trip, fall, walk into things. That's your feet, people, and that's telling you that you're not paying attention. You're trying to do things too fast. You're slipping and falling. You're making mistakes. We're talking about now it's shifted up to your head. If you're thinking and you're in too much conversation with your mind in your head, Virgo energy, picking it apart, overthinking, overanalyzing, and then hit your head. We're talking about the skull. We're talking about the connections. We're talking about awareness. And I'm coming this way because I want you to realize this is going to get deep fast. The Jupiter is still on the esophagus. Okay? It's also in the vocal cords and how you're talking. This is your throat chakra. Uranus is on the sinuses. Your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, your freedom, your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem. How many people, including myself, last week I canceled the show because I couldn't stop sneezing. It's in the sinuses. This is telling you where you're having blockages within these chakras and we have unresolved issues. All right. As I get to the next one, you have Vista, which is going through the rib cage. This is where spirit is making itself known to me. Vista is the keys. I just heard technically it's the keys to your enlightenment. The keys to unlocking the doors. Has everything to do with your rib cage this week, but it doesn't. What does the rib cage do? People think of the rib cage as protecting the lungs and the heart, but its other job is the respiratory energy. It's respiration. It is speaking to you about the oxygen and the carbon dioxide in the body. It is speaking to you about your pH balance. You are going to be having, especially considering you get back into Venus is in shadow in the heart space with Lilith still kicking ass and taking names in the heart space. And you still have Juno, which is sacrificing commitment in the heart space. When are you going to love yourself first? That's what this is all about. It is speaking to you about respiratory acidosis, metabolic acidosis, just in general acidosis, pH balance, lung functions. This is part of what the respiratory energy does. And a backed up, over buildup of carbon dioxide in many people, which is causing this low lung energy right now, this low breathing energy because of that lack of love for themselves. Even though they don't understand, they have this lack of love. Like I said, that's Vista. The keys is literally the cage in which is holding your ability to breathe and your lungs to breathe through the esophagus, through your mouth, through the vocal cords, through all of that so that you can breathe. How much attention are you paying to your life? How much attention are you paying to what you need to be focusing on to keep you in the vibration and the timeline you want, not the one that's trying to distract you? A lot of this respiration and acidosis energy and pH balance energy of the blood is coming in through the lung energy right now. And it's showing us where we're having problems accepting, changing, and moving up into that higher vibration because we weren't taught to love ourselves. And learning how to make this a priority is part of breaking that cage, literally breaking that idea of this three-dimensional perspective of this is all that we are, and it's part of what's holding that heart chakra and connecting with all those other chakras down. So this is why I'm saying, as we get into this energy, when I look at the astrology, Vista doesn't have much to say, but when I'm looking into the blueprint, she's all over this right now. And if you're having that problem breathing and you believe you need to visit a doctor, yes, please go do so. However, this is a situation that I'm being pointed out by Spirit. Slow down. Make sure you're giving yourself the hydration you need. Make sure you're getting a healthy diet in there. This has to do with making sure the proper oxygen and the carbon dioxide are being cleared properly. And it has a lot to do with where you're opening the keys to your next reality. Then we come back into Venus, Lilith, and Juno. Sacrifice, commitment. Lilith being giving you just enough ego to love your freaking self. And Venus, are you paying attention where you haven't and learning about what does treat you better? This is all in the heart space, helping that heart to not feel as heavy so that you can breathe, so that you can feel lighter. When we get into Mercury, which is coming out of retrograde this week, it is on the gallbladder. So is the sun. So this is coming into your solar plexus energy. And then we get into Pallas, Mars, Ceres, the South Node, Haumea, all on the circulatory system and the kidneys. This is your sacral chakra and your relationship zones. And it's all going to come back to where's the heart and that respiratory and that breathing energy going. This is all connected in your high vibration or low vibration. And where is the body actually being affected? So this is what I was saying. It's got a lot going on with it this week. And you do need to love yourself and pamper yourself, because I believe Vista is going to be here in this energy for at least 2 weeks. So this is very important right now. Now, as we get into the actual astrology, there are some very good things here. It's not just all the, the shit coming out of the woodwork or the shit storm, but you are going to see it in your lower vibrational people who are part of your existence. You have the Saturn in retrograde, trining that Haumea, which is your collective consciousness, along with your South Node, learning how to break these changes, learning where you've believed in what society has taught you, how you were raised, and all of these ideas that you were told is the right way to do it in your relationships with yourself and others. Coming into that 12th house, realizing where that codependency is, realizing where you're trying to make others happy instead of yourself. And this is giving you the balls to stand up and go, nah, nah, I need to make some healing here. But that's the thing. That 12th house is you've got to see it for yourself. Nobody can make you love you. Nobody can make you make changes. Somebody can tell you 7 times to Sunday. But if you don't see it and want it and go after it, it's not going to happen. This is something you have to want. And you have to not allow that lower vibrational energy, that pig pen energy, into your life right now, into those relationships, because you'll be creating it on those lower vibrational timelines. You have the positivity there, going into the collective, acknowledging it. Plus, Ceres is there. Ceres is the threefold. She will hit you beneath the belt. She is speaking to you about what you nurture or what you neglect. So she's helping you to see the truth behind this. Now you get into that North Node in Aries, which is trying to teach the Aries energy how to be a creator and how to be freaking patient. How to still stand boldly, stand firmly, be brave enough to do what you want to do, but actually patient enough to do it right and do it well. This is speaking with Lilith in the heart, that 5th house, in your creative energy. This is where your enjoyment of life takes place, or lack of it takes place. This is where you find your hobbies, your fun zone, your peers, tribe, so to speak. This is where the musicians end up coming together and becoming a band. This is where your artist takes time for himself to be able to paint and express that part of his life or her life and their energy. This is where your sports people get to enjoy their sports and become that kind of a team. But this is finding the time to not be manipulated, take that bullshit out of it, and make time for what you desire and the people that you desire for them to be with you, because they're of that vibration. Lilith here is giving you the fire and the balls to go after it, to desire it, to have the nerve to desire a good life. And the North Node is saying it does take patience, but you have to start somewhere. This has to do with realizing our character, realizing where we have character flaws that keep us from doing it. It's a trine, so it should be a positive energy, but it may show you where you're having trouble creating it by what you have to change so that you can create it. And this is also the way you're viewing the world, not just your character, the character of the timeline that you're in. Then we're getting into Chiron, the wounded healer, which is also speaking with Venus in shadow in that heart space. So Chiron is seeking ways to bring that healing forward. He's the wounded healer, but he's not good at it. This is why he's great at healing everybody else and seeing it in that mirror effect. That's what you've heard us all speak of it before. The mirroring of what we have to change. It's great at fixing the mirror effect. It's not so great when we have to stare our own self in the eye and we have to see where we're having problems. Where our Venus has been trying to tell us where we're harming ourselves, not giving ourselves that time. This is overcoming it and healing something. But like I said, this could feel a little bit like Mercury retrograde, like you're in your head too much. So this isn't the right time to be in your head and overanalyze, and overanalyze. You may have had it right the first time. And now you're overanalyzing so far that you've outdone it to where it's not even what it was. Do you get what I'm saying? So this is trust your heart, know what you desire, and go with it and make that change. But realize not everything happens like that. You have Uranus, which is still in retrograde in that second house, having a conversation with the sun, illuminating your daily activities, your daily rituals, your daily routines, your people, places, and things, your energy diet. It's illuminating if it's integrity, if it's independent, if it's self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. Remember, this is also where attraction comes in, that second house of manifestation. If you are in the vibration to manifest it, it's going to tell you that you can. If you're desiring it, but you're not of it, that's a different subject. You have to become of it. You have to become of that timeline. You cannot allow the distractions to keep you away. This is independence, individuality, uniqueness, freedom, self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, standing in your power, believing in yourself, creating it, and illuminating it to the outside world. I will shine in this. Not, I will shine in things I don't want to shine in, because I didn't take the time to truly pay attention to this new beginning. This is still, and Mercury will be going into Mercury will go into shadow here as well, in that 12th house. So what are we creating in our day-to-day, moment-to-moment, thought-to-thought activity? And where are you going to shine? Make sure where you're shining, because it's going to illuminate whether it's good or bad. And that is what's going to be being created for the next timeline that you're still building. You have Jupiter, which is in retrograde. Now, also not getting along with the sun or with Mercury, as Mercury's direct or goes retrograde. So this is going to be a lot of in your head, emotional in your head, a lot of emotional in your head, and a lot of thinking in your head, with both of them going shadow. And 5th and 6th house. This is up close and personal, people. And this is, don't overthink it so much that you overthought it back into something that it never ever was. Take what you're thinking. You know what you're thinking. You know what you're feeling. Don't sit there and try to analyze and sit on it and redo it and redo it and redo it. No. You're seeing the alignment. You're seeing the truth. You're seeing the illumination of it. This is positive energies that are there to help you. They may not always feel positive, but knowing how to read them and understand what you're being seen or shown, that right there is the key. Jupiter is abundance, self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, or the very lack of it, where you're being enabled, where somebody's enabling the situation and keeping you from coming into your power by enabling something else or manipulating the situation. Whereas somebody else taking their power from you because you've been giving it. This is about us understanding our daily thoughts, activities, thinking have everything to do with where that's going to go. Jupiter, anything he touches, he magnifies and he amplifies. And where a lot of people, Sagittariuses, are known to be very lucky. But I will say Jupiter is going to feed you whatever you feed it. And he's going to bring the luck of what you're feeding that energy. It doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. It is a positive energy. But like I said, depends on each person's individual life as to how it has to be delivered. Now, you do have a creative grand trine that on the 14th, when right as we're approaching that Mercury leaving retrograde, going into shadow, right as we're approaching that new moon in Virgo, you're having a trine that is building, and it's going to hold from then on out for the rest of the week. And this is with Pluto in the 10th house, the outer authority, society, our jobs and our careers, Uranus in your power or the lack of being in your power, and independence, and the sun. And I would not be surprised if you find new mandates come out in the next month. This is kind of energy I'm talking about. This is what has power over you versus are you allowing it to have power over you, or is it even play on your timeline? Uranus is standing in that power, speaking to that daily activity, your daily life, your daily routines, what is creating the most part of your manifestation, and then taking it to the outer world. And if it has power over you or not. This is a very positive energy, but you have to know how to work it. Then you have a chain reaction that's coming in, and I call it a chain reaction because it doesn't really have its own real name. It reminds me of a kite in astrology. This is an incredibly powerful energy, but it's very small. It's hard to know. It's not hard to notice unless you don't know astrology well. But Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune, where before it was Pluto and Uranus with the sun. This is why I'm explaining it to you. Now it's with Neptune. It's that 12th house. The ability to heal and start something new is here. But you must seize the moment. If you don't seize the moment, you're going to find that situation slap you right back in your face. Pluto is that outer world. Uranus is that independence, but Neptune is the creator of the magic. It is fantasy versus reality. What are you breathing into life? What timeline are you breathing into life? And are you aware when you catch yourself in the lower to go, no, I got to boot that shit. Then we have some sextiles. Sextiles are always positive and give you opportunities. You have Saturn, which is in retrograde, speaking with that North Node. Rules, walls, boundaries. But sometimes we got to have some patience. Sometimes got to be willing to stand up and be bold and courageous enough, brave enough to just put those shit kicker boots on and actually go out there and, let me state it, but let me not act a fool, but let me stand my ground. Saturn's the rules, laws, boundaries. It has everything to do with changing the situation, making the healing come forward. So it's a very positive opportunity here. You have Venus, which is in shadow, which is in a sextile with Mars and the 7th house. This is balancing these relationships if you're able to. Yin and yang. Light and dark, masculine, feminine. This is speaking to our logic, our practical, our material energy, our imaginative, our creative, our spiritual energy, and bringing them into balance. It is speaking to you about that sensitivity of what the heart is telling you it needs to be light as a feather, to enjoy this life, not to feel like it's a task, versus the relationships you have. And I say all the time, you have a relationship with any and everything you care about. When you have no money, none, You know all about that relationship with the lack of that money. When you have no vehicle, you know all about your relationship with the lack of that vehicle. When you have no home, you know all about that relationship. So it's not just your loved ones, your family, your children, your parents, your working environment, any and everything you care about. You have a love relationship with, love or love to hate relationship, and this is talking about your inner warrior, your inner SWAT team, your Mars in Libra, air energy. He can flow. That fire can be a brush fire, or it can just be a lighter in the wind. Where are you going to take that inner warrior, that inner fire, that inner SWAT team? Versus what Venus is telling it, what that Lilith is telling it. Because it's coming from the shadow. The shadow might be giving it some of a darker perspective of I need. But this is giving you the opportunity to actually seize it. So this is a good thing. Then you have Lilith here in that 5th house again, speaking directly with Haumea, the South Node, and Ceres. Nurturing, neglecting. Which one of the two is it? In the relationship zone. How is the relationship zone? The South Node is everything you're good at, but it doesn't serve you anymore. You've gotten very good at your relationships being in this way, or you communicating in this way. But are they changing? Are they getting healthier? Because it's sitting with the collective consciousness, showing you if it's the same repeat on repeat on repeat. And this is, like I said, it's a sextile. Lilith in the fire of the heart, giving you just enough boldness to be like, this is what I want to change in the relationship. But you have to be willing to do it. Now, like I said, these are the good things. The challenging energies, slightly different story. You have a T square, which is always a challenge. Pluto, Chiron, Haumea, Ceres, and South Node. Chiron's the wounded healer, and that character of who and what you are, how the world sees you, how you see the world around you. Pluto is the world around you. It is the authority of the outer world. It is your career. It is also how you're, are you an honorable person out there? This is talking about what you are in the outer world, as well as what you are. Sometimes what you think you are and what you actually are different things. And then it's speaking to the collective consciousness of what is really going on in these relationships. It's speaking to the changes that need to be made because the South Node's here, which means every single one of us need to learn how to carry ourselves in relationships in a different way. Period. This is the 7th house relationship zone. It's ruled by Libra. It's about us learning how to not be codependent on one another, learning how to stand in our own firm power, learning to love ourselves and not put ourselves on the back burner. That's a lot of South Node Libra by itself. Then you have the collective consciousness to the realization of it. And Ceres is nurturing or neglecting. Nurturing or neglecting who you are in yourself as well as the world around you. You have a choice to make. Are you going to nurture or neglect? And which one is it? All the way around. Then you have Chiron and that North Node in the 1st house, which is fighting also that South Node, that collective consciousness with Haumea, with Ceres, nurturing and neglecting, and then Mars, your inner warrior. This is making you either I don't want to have confrontation, or I'm all over the confrontation. One of the two, because like I said, this is not getting along energy. It is challenging energy about having patience and making changes versus just blowing up, just losing your shit. And Like I said, anybody who knows an Aries will know, got no problem just losing it, punching you in the face, and then going, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. I'll deal with it after the fact. We don't want to deal with it after the fact. We want to be conscious of our energy and what we're doing before the fact. So we create our reality properly and we're really in control. This is harnessing your yin, yang, your light, your dark, your power, your inner demon, all of it. Seeing who you are and what you are creating in these relationships and if they're full of pigpen energy or not. Then you've got Saturn, that 12th house, retrograde, not getting along with Lilith or Mercury, because Lilith is almost outside of Leo now. Mercury is still in, right now it's still in retrograde, but it's going to come out of retrograde and be in direct in Virgo. So this is, again, up close and personal in your heart, what you want to create, what you have time for. Are you being manipulated into not being it? I would say it a million times. You have bosses out there who will be like out on the boat, enjoying themselves, and throw it down to the next person. You can do it. And then that person's going to throw it down to the next person until it gets to the little guy. Until the little guy starts saying, no, that's not my job, and I'm not going to do this stuff, and I'm not going to be here during these hours that I'm not supposed to be here. That's your job. You come back, you do your job. Manipulating your life into keeping you from enjoying it, being part of what you want to, creating your hobbies, your fun, your love. Period. This is literally your communication with that heart, with your daily activities, what you will and will not allow or tolerate, versus setting those rules, laws, and boundaries. I'm making changes and I'm changing timelines. I'm moving on up. Plain simple. You've got Neptune and the Sun not getting along. Fantasy versus harsh-ass reality. Slap you in the face with some illusion and delusion. People are going to be showing themselves, or people are going to be getting that delusion pulled right out from underneath them and swept up underneath the rug and going to be seen, slap, whiplash right to your face. That shit's coming in like nobody. And you're going to be seeing more and more of that. And even those of us who do our work, nobody's perfect. Even those of us who do our work, we get whiplash. We're like, whoa, where the heck did that come from? Because there's still always something to learn. Neptune is the creator of the magic and how you feed it, what you're doing with it. It's speaking with the illuminating of your thinking process, of your energy diet, of your food diet, of your breathing diet. I was saying the lungs and the energy in your breathing, this all has to do with this energy right now. What are you breathing in to your actual vibration? Are you breathing in that you're manipulated to have to work so hard and I don't ever get any time to do anything that I want to do, or are you going after and seizing the day and making time? Who are these people that are in your life? Where are these places that you take yourself in your life? What are you a part of? Only you know if you're creating bullshit or not. It's that simple. You've got Jupiter, the abundance of all the abundance, and that throat chakra right now. Whether it's talking shit or it's truly standing firm and bold and in that self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, or is it in manipulation and I'm going to take possession of you? It is speaking to you directly into that Venus shadow. Your sensitivity about what you really want. And lastly, I got one more chain. You have Uranus, which is speaking with Lilith, your independence, individuality, uniqueness, freedom, versus the possession of somebody or something else, being pushed around, enabled in one way or another, because that could go both ways. Lilith going into the heart about getting what you want, enjoying life, enjoying and breathing in happiness, speaking directly with Saturn, those rules, those walls, those boundaries, being able to create that energy and make that change. But what's it go right back to? Mercury, which is coming out of retrograde and going into shadow in that 6th house. And what's in the 6th house? You have the Sun and Mercury coming all the way through this, coming into each one of these chakras right now, speaking about where we're creating our reality. Are you in your power? Or did you completely misplace it? Only you know. I love you guys, and I will see you next week. Also, if you listened to this far, I meant to say it in the beginning of the show. I have made some changes in my own personal life. I already spoke to Matt about it. I am not 100% sure yet because I'm switching my part-time job, and that's probably going to force me to switch the night of the show. I won't know for sure just for another few days. But next week, Breaking the Cage may be on Saturday night instead of Sunday night. It will be one of the two. I'm just not positive yet if we're sticking with Sunday or if we're moving to Saturday. So if you enjoy the show, pay attention so that you catch it when it is live, or at least know when to come back and catch it. Love you guys. Bye.